Hi, my name is Jethro. I'm 18 years old, and today we're going to talk about how to build your confidence based on my experience and how I became confident from being an introvert to being an extrovert to meet people. So, confidence actually pays. In business and entrepreneurship, they say that confidence pays, and it really works very well. So imagine if you're finding a connection, finding a good network, or you want to have an accountability partner, it is important for us to start with communication to build relationship, to build connection in the first place, and expect you're going to do it first. Don't make them do it first for you. It's about confidence, having the courage despite of fear to talk with someone, to negotiate with someone, to connect with someone, to network with someone. And that's for your own benefit. So, social skills is the ability to connect with people. And it's very important for you to learn because you will apply it in your career, in your job, in people, in network, in your business, in your clients, and so forth. I started building my social skills through facing up my fears, walking on stage and speaking in front of many people. I don't know, it's very hard. You can do it too. Maybe there's a challenging part that you want to do or want to try, or you want to talk with someone but you feel shy. Your expectations will not be matched with that person. And that's okay. Confidence is just about I'm okay with not being liked by someone else or with someone I like. That's it. In life, for effective communication, in order for a communication to start, you have to start with your confidence. Confidence can be also in your tone, in your resonance of your voice, how you approach people, and it could be your gestures. It could be your eye contact that creates connection in relationship. But too much of an eye contact can make you creepy. So you also have to learn about that. Confidence comes from within you, and people will feel you're confident. They'll perceive you more of a positive way. So practical way to increase your confidence for me is to face your fear, right? Talk to people, at least one, and make your goals achievable, make your goals small so that you can do that. Write your goal on a paper. I want to talk with this person or not. And then when you face rejection, that's a good part. Rejections is part of success, and you always face that, trust me. And based on my experience, active listening is very important. What we mean by active listening is you're constantly listening to the other person despite that you want to talk and chit chat and demonstrate your ideas. So we have that type of ego that we want to be heard and we want to talk and we don't want to listen. But in order to be a good communicator, you have to be a good listener. If people tell you or people can see that you are listening to what they are saying, it makes you a good communicator. And I read that from a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale. So much more recommended. And if you want a summary of it, tell me and I'll make a video about it. So one of the best technique to become a listener, a good listener, an active listener for me is to be humble. Because if you're humble, you are lessening your ego and your ego lessens, and then you tend to listen more about the person. You tend to care about more of the person. You tend to hear more about the story of the other person and to be genuinely interested in the person, which generates you to be a very good communicator. So rapport, let's talk about rapport. In simple definition, rapport is building harmony, building mutual connection with other people, finding things in common. And when you learn how to build a rapport, you build your relationship with the other person with a sense of meaningful connection. One of the strategies to create a positive impression is to have a sense of respect or respect to the other person and a sense of being comfortable with yourself. If you're comfortable with yourself, if you are yourself, you're making a good impression that you are authentic. You are someone who they can trust. You're someone who has sense of humor. Just be you. Be confident and be okay with not being liked by others. And then you'll make a good impression. Naturally, if you learn from your mistakes. So one of the best strategies to build a very good impression is not to impress the person about you, but to care more about them, to be genuinely interested about them. And then you'll build the rapport, and then you'll build the connection and the relationship, and then you got a network, you got a friend. So in communication, we have so-called communication barriers. Communication barriers could be physical, like the noise outside, could be the weather, or it could be the horns of the traffic, so you can't hear too much. There's also psychological communication barriers. There's a lot of them. But if you want to be a good communicator, you have to eliminate those barriers. Barriers are something that stops you from having a clear, direct communication from the one that you are talking, and then you'll end up not understanding from one another. So determine those barriers on what you are currently struggling and eliminate those or lessen those barriers so that you have a clear communication with the one that you want to talk to, so you have a clear mutual connection and understanding and preventing misunderstanding. So networking, let's talk about networking in relationship building. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, this is a valuable asset that you can invest in your social skills. The value of networking to other people, the value of relationship building to other people can give you a sense of a head start. If you need this person in the future, you can call him. If you need this specific person and you know someone who is an expert at this, you can ask for help and then they can happily serve you. Not all the time, but most of the time. So other effective to build your network is to start with your classmates or to start with your coworkers, to start with someone who is near about you or someone you're genuinely interested and you find them helpful in the future or you find them interesting. Click it, approach them, and then while you're approaching them, have a sense of awareness that you're training yourself on how to communicate better, how to network better. And once you learn from your mistakes, you repeat that learning, you apply that learning, and then you'll start networking with other people. You challenge yourself, you beat that fear. And when you beat that fear, you have a growth mindset. And if you have a growth mindset, you keep learning, you keep trying, you keep failing, and just repeat the cycle. And then you'll become confident. So there could be, like me, for example, I handled a lot of difficult conversations with other people. Why? Because this is current. Number one, they tend to misunderstood me, mainly because we don't have the same level of knowledge. So that's a barrier. Number two, maybe I don't know how to structure the way I speak, or I don't provide steps and just my ideas is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of the recommended thing to do is to speak one idea at a time. So you can clear that barrier, so you can clear that difficult conversation. Number three, one of the biggest mistakes of other people is when they are talking, they are inclining it with their emotions. For example, you're angry with that person, you tend to have a different conversation. You might spit some words and then you regret it later. So be careful with your emotions as well. There's thousands of reasons to have very difficult conversation with other people, but don't really focus on your mistakes or criticize yourself. Oh, I should be perfect. I should have done this. Oh, this person says that I am a worse communicator. They don't understand me. No, take in a positive perspective. It's a part of success when you keep trying, all right? Trying, you're aware that this is a failure, and then you fail, and then you keep trying, and then you fail, and you keep trying. That's the sign of success. Because some people just fail. Someone talk about constructive feedback about them, and then they're hurt, and they end up not trying. They end up not learning from the mistakes. So that is not what you want to become. So my personal tips, and one of the greatest tips according to the book also I've read, right? I recommend you, is when you are dealing with someone in terms of communication, you're having a hard time, This is a specific strategy to handle that conflict, especially in your professional life or in business, is to admit your mistakes. And I know we have an ego to not admit our mistakes, but admitting our mistake is a huge stepping stone for us to make an impression for the other person, to make them feel pity, to make them feel that, oh, they're so bad. I should have done this to this person. I should have nagged. I shouldn't like this and that. There's a psychological trick when it comes to admitting your mistakes, and by admitting your mistakes, you're being humble, and then you're lowering your ego, and then you start thinking about the other person, and then you'll have a good relationship, even though you have a conflict, even though you have huge fight. Admit your mistake. So in the 21st century, we have social media, right? So one of the greatest tips that I can offer to you is, if you want to develop your social skills, social media could be a great way to communicate with your friends, to communicate with people rather than just being silent. There are other people who are more confident online, and then eventually when they got face to face, they're so quiet. Because as a matter of fact, there's a psychological trick about that. There's a specific study about that. But what I'm trying to point is, doesn't mean you're confident online, you're confident face to face. You have to balance between these two. Especially in the internet, people are more faster to share your post, whether if it's good or bad. So be careful about your communication online. It's very dangerous or it's very profitable. Your words are power that can either make you or destroy you. So be aware. So to build a good communication is to build relationship with other people, build rapport or harmony, and then improve your body gestures, your confidence level, your eye contact, because it tells you who you are. It makes you a good impression. And to think or genuinely be interested about the person that you are talking to or you want to talk to. So I encourage you to build on your social skills towards your self-improvement and your entrepreneurship journey. And if you really want to upgrade your life when it comes to discipline or when it comes to emotional control, especially in social skills, is very important. Watch this video because it will benefit you, I promise. Click on the video and you'll learn a lot more. Thank you. Fired up.